Hey YouTube folks out there. I want to talk about to my trucking folks out there about, and I guess maybe some other folks might want to hear this, my journey as a truck driver. Talked a little bit about what I've accomplished in 4 years. Let's get granular. I really don't like that word, actually. It was used against me at one time and I don't like it. But it's late 2025. It's November. And I got my CDL and went to school. I'll actually tell the full story. I started thinking I wanted to get into it, and probably around January, February-ish of 2021. Needed a new career, needed to change up, needed to start over. And I say start over, I needed to start over with everything. Friends, all kind of stuff. And that was the plan. So, it was to get in the truck, get a career, live in the truck and come up. Live in the truck and come up. I had an opportunity where I could live with family for a little while, and I took advantage of that. And I take advantage of it as long as I can, baby. Got to come up until you reach your goals, right? So I think I'm 32 now. I got my CDL, or I'll back up just a little. It all started with watching the Rusty Cracker. Man, he had some really cool videos. He still does a few every now and then, vlogging, trucking, and he just had good edits, man. Good, clean stuff, man. And I was searching for a career. I was going to look into being an electrician. I actually started on that journey just a teeny bit. And then trucking, I was like, this could work. So, weighing it, researching it. His videos really got me onto it, man. Started diving into what to do, and I had a little cash on me, so I decided that I did not want to go to a trucking school at a carrier where they help you get your license, because for folks that don't know, to get your license you got to go to a trucking school, or you can get with a company called a carrier where they help you get your license. You're employed with them while you're getting your permit and then your license. And you got to pass tests and stuff like that. And then that's probably about a 2 to 3 week process, I think. And it's the same thing if you do it independent, where you go to your own trucking school and you pay for it cash. And then you have your license, and then you find a company to go work with. So I decided that I didn't, because if you do it with a carrier, you have to be with that carrier and you have to work with them and drive for them for a certain amount of time, or you owe them money. You have to pay them back for the opportunity, the trucking school they got you. Back then, it was about $3,000 to $5,000. I decided I did not want to be committed to a lot of these big mega carriers that are generally pretty shitty companies to be with. And I didn't want to be married and tied down. I know that's just not for me. When it comes to a lot of things, but in particular a job or career, especially for that amount of time. And you come to find out 12 months with trucking is a long time. Okay, it is, because we work so many hours, we work so hard. Man, it goes by fast to an extent, but it really is a lot, because you see a lot, you work a lot, you experience a lot, you go through a lot. And so I'll go through it because maybe you should know this. I went to a trucking school. It was a little cheaper. It was like $3,000. I think they were shady. They failed me on my vision test because I was colorblind. And they tried to hold up the colors amber. And I can't tell the difference between amber and like orange. I say orange, they say wrong. They failed me. I actually ended up getting failed out. I was worried they were going to keep my money, so I kept peckering them about it. They had to hold the money for 45 days, but I wanted to make sure they weren't going to keep my money because I had already paid, I think, the whole thing, or half of it maybe. And so come to find out, I did get the money back at that 45 days because I kept peckering them, but also because I filed a lawsuit. because I felt like I was discriminated against. So I filed a lawsuit in local court, magistrate, small claims court. I really was mostly to intimidate them, to make sure that they know I'm serious. I want my money back. And it's cheap to file something like that. So, and you never know, they might settle. They might pay me more than what they owe me, because I really did feel like I was discriminated against. And I think they do some shady things over there. I'm almost sure of it. You look at the Google reviews and stuff, and what I went through. There was another person there that same thing, but I think they actually kept him. And I'm outside of Atlanta. He's a black guy. I'm a white guy. It wasn't just about race, but I was discriminated against based on color blindness. It has nothing to do. There's a whole thing. I went through the court, represented myself. I was working on getting this quick, fast forward. I didn't have enough time. I was working. I was starting to work. I was starting to drive and going through an orientation at my first company. I didn't have time to prepare for the actual suit. And so I had to hurry back home. I'll get into this. I ended up losing a lawsuit. I figured I would. It's fine. No big deal. I just wanted my money back, and I got it. And I really do feel like I was discriminated. There's a whole thing. I'm not going to go into it. They shouldn't be doing what they're doing. I've done DOT physicals ever since then. That's bullshit what they did. Okay? Anyway, fast forward. A month later, I ended up getting a state grant because I didn't have the cash yet anymore. They still hold my cash, so I couldn't go pay for another trucking school. But because I was unemployed due to COVID, I was able to qualify for a state grant to pay for $4,500 of the trucking school. That's another shady thing about that school. That's how they try to steal people's money. Because, in my opinion, they're supposed to inform me of the potential for that grant, that I could use that. And they didn't. The other trucking school even told me that. But I went straight to the other trucking school, and they were upfront. They were straight, better people. More expensive. I only had to pay $500. It was a $5,000 tuition. I think it was a 2 or 3 week program. I think it was 3. And I had already completed a week because of the other school, so I only needed to do 2 weeks. And so I go there, go through the whole thing, and I got my permit, passed the test, first time. That's a thing to be proud of. I'm proud of that. My career's been very clean. I'm very proud of my career so far. I take pride in it because I feel like I've made some good moves, and I've executed pretty well, man. And I've had a plan and stuck to it. But the biggest thing is, I'm really proud of how I moved and how I changed companies at certain times, and how the decisions I made, starting with paying for school so I could be independent, because this industry moves fast. 3 months experience, you can qualify for a job you couldn't get. 6 months experience, you can go for another company and make a little more money. A year experience, you can level up and make more money. The first 2 years, you can level up, and then you're making about top dollar in about 1 to 2 years. That's how quick the industry moves. But you got to move around, because you're not going to get that with the carriers that you can get with in the beginning when you don't have experience. So I got my CDL, and I was really trying to find the right word. I was kind of obsessed about what carrier I want to go to. I really wanted to research. I didn't want to end up picking the wrong place. I didn't want problems. I wanted stability, and I wanted to achieve my goals, and I didn't want any beef or BS. So, man, I remember in trucking school, everybody was really kind of laid back about where they're going to go. They're not really doing much research. I was doing a lot of research. I compiled a list, and I applied to about maybe 7 different places, which is a lot in the beginning, because there's not a lot of places you can qualify for. And ended up settling on one of them that I applied to later. Got with Melton Truck Lines, doing flatbed, OTR, over the road, all 48 states, and they do Canada. Never got a Canada load, by the way. And I did not have any endorsements on my license yet. Got those later on. And the orientation process, there's something ceremonious about the beginning of a trucking career. The whole having to go through it as kind of like a community. It's kind of like a sorority, it feels like. It's like a community. You're all in it together, kind of, and you're going through it. You know, going the weeks of school. It's actually not easy. There's a lot of people that don't do it first time. And so I started with them I got my license in May. Started with them shortly after, in the month of May. Went to orientation, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I lived at the time in Georgia. And drove my personal car out that way. They set you up in a hotel. It was actually pretty nice. A really cool bus experience that they give you there in the beginning. It's just that whole onboarding process in the beginning, where you go from working normal jobs and when you get into trucking, you know, like, nobody really wants you. You got to work hard to get a job and stuff. In trucking, you make a phone call for a job, they calling you back in a lot of cases, especially at least back then. And there's just so many different job opportunities. There's just so much available. It's a completely different world. It was really eye-opening. It was really a breath of fresh air to really be wanted and needed so bad, because they need drivers. It's not a driver shortage, by the way. That's bullshit. But it's a propaganda. They do that to keep to stuff the industry full of drivers, so that they can lower the freight rates and make more corporate profits, because they can pay us less. That's what it is. It's been going on for a long time, really since the 1970s, and especially like the last 30 years. Anyway, so yeah, the orientation process probably like a week or so. And I'm probably going to speed up, because I might do separate things about every little bit of some of these places and stuff and what I experienced. So I worked with Melton Truck Lines. I had to ride. This was the beginning of a trucking career. You got to ride in someone else's truck, be their co-driver, and they're training you. Normally it's about a 3-week ride in the beginning of your career. I was able to do it in, I only spent 2 weeks with him, and it was just under 2 weeks. I worked really hard I wanted to get the hell out of his truck. I don't like sharing a truck, especially with someone that I don't really care for. And I don't really like most people these days anymore, especially back then, to be honest with you. That's why I got into trucking. I want to get away from people. I don't want to work with people. I've had enough with working with people. The jobs aren't difficult. It's the people. I'm sorry. People are difficult. There's always somebody that wants to throw me under the bus. I'm a good person in a bad world, man. So, did that 9 months, had enough of that, and then went to, decided to switch it up, and I was going to start with another carrier, backed out of it. US Express backed out of that. I ended up going to Crete carrier. I leveled up. Some good money to be made over there, allegedly. Didn't work out for me. I did 3 weeks with them and quit. Cleaned the truck out, said, I'm done with y'all. We'll get into that maybe later on. Probably will. Anyway, then I got with a carrier out of Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri. Doing a little bit of dry van, but mostly refrigerated freight. In OTR again, and I did 5 months with them. They were a very comfortable carrier, good APUs, good trucks, treat you like family. It was a small little feel to it, small. It felt like working at a warehouse. Really friendly people, small outfit. Think about it. At the time, Melton Truck Lines was a bigger carrier, but not a mega carrier. They're kind of in the middle. That's what I was aiming for. I didn't want the big carriers. I don't like corporate. I don't like corporate America. I don't like all that big stuff. So, the Melton Truck Lines at the time had like around 1,200 trucks or so. That's pretty good for an introductory company. That's really good. Crete is kind of a bigger carrier, but wanted to make more money. And they're not a big mega carrier per se. It's pretty kind of close. But anyway, Climate Express, that carrier out of St. Louis. And I was with them for 5 months. The smaller carrier, I think they might have had like 750 trucks or so at the time. And just wasn't my kind of fit long term, but it was a good fix for the time. It's a good deal. And then in 2022, I took the last 2 months of the year off after Climate Express. And at the beginning of 2023, I decided that I was ready to try to make more money and see if I want to be an owner-operator someday. And operate as a contractor. Started an LLC and started doing that with a Chicago land carrier, working for some good people, I think. I've talked about that before in another video I'm going to upload. And that was in the beginning of 2023 in January. And man, 2023 was a hell of a year. Ran hard as hell, 147,000 miles. And was with them last year in 2024. And 2025, here we are, almost all the way through it. I'm still with them for now. Might be looking to make a change here for too long. We'll see. Maybe get phase 2 of my plan. And maybe not, but we'll see. And that's been my journey. 4 years. It's really technically almost 4.5 now. Over 500,000 miles. I reached 500,000 miles a couple months back, I think shortly after my 4-year mark. And that's what it's been. Working hard, man. Really trying to come up. And that's what you got to do. Watch my other videos and see what I have to say about different things like that. I hope you've maybe been intrigued, maybe inspired. Don't get into trucking. Don't do it. We don't need you out here, and you don't like it. You're not going to like it. Peace.